And Dr. Charles Cole, who's the CEO of Energy Converters, will share some key questions that every Black and brown parent needs to ask their child's teacher and school.
The better question is, are you okay with failing? Are you okay with losing? If you can answer those things as yes, then I would say run like hell. Start running right now. Stop waiting for folks. If you got a school that's handling their business and you can trust them, you are blessed. Thank whatever you pray to or whatever you believe in. But I believe in this other thing, and I believe in this thing called agency. And I want to just really help people understand what agency is before we even move forward to these questions. It's the ability for people to be able to ask individual questions so they can be so they can act independently and make their own free choices, right? So when we talk about academic agency, that's the ability of students and their parents or their community or whatnot to exercise choices over their academic experiences. This is important because oftentimes Black and brown kids are left to their own devices. I was one of those students. I was left to my own devices, and I only got to college because I went and badgered my counselor. I sat in her office. I was threatened to get suspended and all that stuff, but I didn't care because I wanted to go to college. And I knew how to advocate for myself. So I'm going to help you all build some agency. There's a bunch of different questions that you could ask, but we're going to start with just these 5. The first one is, what's my child's reading level? This is just really important because so many kids are multiple years behind in reading level. When we talk about literacy isn't just the ability to be able to read and write, right? It is the ability to be able to process and analyze and do something with what you read and write. So many people don't know, like really think about it at home. Do you know what grade level your kid is reading on? Once you get that answer, that empowers you to go do some other things. If your child is in the 6th grade, but they read on the 3rd grade level, well, that allows you to go out and get books that's on the 3rd grade level, 4th grade level, 5th grade level, 6th grade level. You understand what I'm saying? So, and also when you ask these type of questions, educators and schools respond to you differently. So let's just start with that piece. Dr. Howard Fuller loves to say this. He's a mentor of mine and a bunch of people that's on this in this presentation. He said, we fought so hard to be able to sit at the counter, but now we at the counter and we can't read the damn menu. 2, can we set up a regular time to meet? Check this out, man. You got my kid. You got what I'm saying? Like, I need you to understand their question. I want you to know, do you know what my kid loves? Do you know what my kid dreams about? Do you see my kid as a human, as a person? Are these things that you are very comfortable with? Do you have questions for me? We are a team in this. You know what I mean? Like, I may get the kid dressed, fed, and all that stuff, man, but I need you to deliver. So we need to be in constant communication. Hopefully we got a good relationship. So maybe if my child had an interesting day at home and we had a fight before he got to school, I can send you a message I can send that educator a message saying, hey, look out for little Charles having X, Y, and Z issues today. And we can have a plan as opposed to that Black kid getting kicked out of class and suspended. The third, I alluded to this just recently, but again, I am always coaching parents and students to ask their educators what they see in their student or what they see in them. Like, what do you see that I'm capable of? Like, are you paying attention to me on a human level? And this is just a really good conversation to engage with. And if you have asked your teacher, you know, what they saw in your kid, tell me what they said. I would venture to say that a lot of people haven't asked that question. And I talked to a lot of educators across the country and I asked them. And 1, a lot of them haven't been asked that question. But 2, when I asked them that in their training, they were really reflective because they couldn't answer that question for more than half of their kids. And that's a problem. Sometimes teachers might write you off because maybe you don't speak like them. I don't know, for whatever reason. It's not my job to speculate. But when you use certain language, like, teachers have goals, right? Like, there should be a plan and goals and sections and all that stuff. So when you ask that educator, hey, what's the goal for this month? What's the goal for this semester? What's the goal for this section? It lets them know that somebody's going to be paying attention to that. Somebody's going to be following up around that goal. And you're going to have some very specific questions in regards to your child. And you're going to be able to hold your child accountable in a certain type of way. And then finally, what's your discipline policy? Listen, man, when a black or brown male gets suspended multiple times in a year, the chances of them going to jail at some point in their life grows exponentially. As a black man who is one of the first in his family to go to college, but has a lot of the men in my family have been to jail. This is a real issue, especially in black and brown communities. And it's not just with males, it's also with women as well. And so you need to get a real understanding. What's the progressive plan? Like, do they have a plan? Is it just how you feeling that day? Or is there like, yo, like, give me the steps. So if my child does get in trouble, and for some reason you didn't talk to me before we got to the stage of heightened discipline or suspension, we can walk through the steps together and kind of talk about what happened. And here's the thing, and I'm talking to the parents. I have a whole different thing that I say to educators. For instance, I coach educators that their first call home should not be negative. Their first call home should be telling you what they see in your kid. They should preempt this, right? But as a parent, it's nice to be liked. It is nice to have a good, friendly relationship with your educator. It's nice to be able to just trust them. But we're talking about your baby. We're talking about your child, and you and that child have to deal with the consequences of whatever is happening in that classroom. And I would strongly advise you to not leave that up to chance, especially in this country, in this education system, and in a place that has the type of statistics around black and brown children that it does. Here's a recap. 1, my child's reading level. 2, check-ins, baby. You gonna be hearing from me. And here go my numbers. Here go my email address. Here go my social media if you want it. I probably wouldn't give them the social media, but here are all the ways that you can contact me. And now give me the ways I can contact you, and let's talk about my kid. 3, what do you see in my child? It's very, very, very important, man. Again, and if somebody just don't have an answer for that, and you check back in on that second meeting, they still don't have an answer, then I think you got a bigger issue. I would be trying to get my kid in different classes if that's the case. What's the goal for this month? Again, if you don't get a satisfactory answer for number 4, your next call needs to be to a principal. It needs to be to an official that's above that person, because somebody is dropping the ball somewhere. And then finally, what is your discipline policy? And we believe that when it's your child, when it's your baby that we're talking about, we can talk about what's good for everybody else, but it's different when we're talking about your baby, and we want you to have some tools in your toolkit